Well, hello everyone. We've got Debbie and Deborah here joining me for our Love is in the Air Fryer meal kit, meal prep workshop. We are going to be doing week A, which are the first 5 meals in the cookbook. This is a 10 meal kit, but you should have gotten this wonderful handy dandy little cookbook. The great thing about this is it does give you the recipe or the grocery list here in the front. I don't know if you can see that. And then halfway through, and that's for the first 5 meals. And then halfway through, you have your second grocery list for the second 5 meals. And in addition to that, I actually have a flyer that has like the document that you can get from me. And I also have your prep instructions as well, so it's easy to prepare. Now, with this meal kit, these are the ingredients, Tastefully Simple products that came in your kit. We've got our smoky bacon barbecue sauce, our honey teriyaki sauce. We're not using this one today, so we can set that one aside. We've got our Nashville hot seasoning. I don't know if you can see that. Our classic ranch seasoning. Let me let Stacy in. We've got our seasoned pepper. And the thing that I love about this seasoned pepper is it does not have any sodium in it at all. So if you are looking for some low sodium options, hi Stacy. If you're looking for some low sodium options, this is a great product to use. And then we also are using the seasoning Everything Bagel seasoning. And then our last sauce is our smoky bacon barbecue sauce that we'll be using today. So we're going to dig right in. A couple things that I'm going to suggest when you're doing a meal prep workshop is have a large bowl that you can put your bags in so that if it tips over, you're not losing any sauces or anything out of your bag. So that's our first step. The other thing is a few things that you might want to have, like some kitchen utensils, measuring cups, measuring spoons, as well as I like to have a little spatula for when I'm doing my sauces to get them out of the measuring cups, as well as spoon and fork. Now, before we get started in our workshop, we usually have our meals or our meat already in the bag. If you have not done that yet, you can go ahead and do that as we go along, and just let me know if you need a little more time. So Debbie is not new to meal prepping. She's been meal prepping with me now for at least a year, I would say.
Yeah.
And Deborah, have you done some meal preps before? Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought you were on the last one we did. So, all right. And then Miss Stacy is here visiting us as well. So hopefully this will be a great way to learn how to prep these meals. Goal is to have us finished within an hour. Now, one thing I will tell you, and I think Debbie does not love shrimp. Am I right on that, Debbie? Is it shrimp that you don't like, or is it other food? Seafood?
No, it was salmon.
Salmon.
I love the shrimp.
You love the shrimp. Okay, so you're going to do the shrimp meal. I knew there was, what I was going to say is if there's ever a time that there's a meal that calls for a protein that you don't like, simply replace it with the protein that works for you and your family. There's no problem with that. If you have a smaller size family, these meals do serve 6 people. There's 4 to 6 servings is what we say, usually really 6 servings. So if you're a smaller family, you can always divide this in half and get double the meals out of the meal kit. For me, I love it's my husband and me. We just don't mind leftovers. So we just prep it and eat it the next day, or a day or so later. So that all works, for us too. So, all right. So Debbie, do you
I end up breaking mine down into smaller portions before I freeze it.
I love that.
Because it's just me.
Yeah.
So, I might just do 2 of the chicken cordon bleus.
Yeah.
And then I have dinner and lunch the next day.
Yeah.
So it works out well for me to break them out before I even freeze them.
And that's a great way to do it. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's very smart to do. So well, Stacy and I think it's Talia. Sorry. Thank you for joining us. Talia, sorry about that, Talia.
That's okay.
Thanks for joining us. And we are recording this, so if you need to go back and look at it later, you can. And so we're gonna get started with our first meal, but thank you, Debbie Kesson, for sharing that piece of information with me, because I think that's very smart. And then you don't have waste, you know, you don't wanna be wasting things, so that's for sure. All right, so we're gonna start with our first meal, which is the air fryer barbecue chicken legs. Now, me mentioning the fact that you can substitute things, I'm gonna mention the fact that I did not go with chicken legs. I went with chicken thighs. I'm not a big fan of chicken legs, and I left them in the fridge, so let me grab those. So yeah, so that's what I decided to do. And that worked for me and my family, so. All right, so like I mentioned, I've got my bowl here. I'm gonna set my chicken down in the bowl. Now, one of the things that I always suggest you do is when you are working with your bag, slip the sealed part of it open a little bit more. So that way, when you're putting things down in your bag, it kind of gives you a more open space and you're not getting it all along the sides of your bag. All right, so that's our first step. Now, what we're gonna need for this is we're gonna need a 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil to get started. If you're a person that has avocado oil, that's not a problem. You can do that instead if you prefer. So that's our first step. Guess I should have opened mine ahead of time, huh? All right, so we're doing 1.5 tablespoons. Can you all see my my bowl and bag okay? You probably really don't need to see it as long as I'm telling you about it. Half. Right. Then I'm just gonna set that. I always have a plate here for all of my extra little dirty dishes, you know, dirty spoons and things like that. Okay, we're finished with our olive oil for the time being. The next thing we're going to be using is our Nashville hot seasoning. So we're putting this in the bag with the chicken. So we already had our chicken in the bag. And we are going to be doing 2 tablespoons. Now, before you ever use your seasoning, I always suggest put your finger over top of the lid and just shake it up a little bit to blend your seasonings up. And then we're going to use the cap is 2 tablespoons. So we're going to measure out 2 tablespoons. And if you don't like as much seasoning, you like it a little less spicy, then just use a little bit less. If you prefer a little bit more spice, you can always go ahead and do more spices on that. Okay, I like to make sure that I close my lids as well. I'm gonna put myself on speaker view so that people can see my bowl, hopefully see my bowl a little bit better. Maybe, yes. Are you seeing it full screen or am I just a small portion? Maybe
I
not.
see it full screen.
You see me full screen?
Mhm.
Perfect.
I see your bowl off to the side.
Okay,
I can
there's
see
my
it.
bowl. All right, so there's thank you for mentioning that. I didn't know if I needed to turn it or anything like that. So, all right, so now I've got my olive oil, got my seasoning in there, and I'm just gonna seal it with the air in there, and I'm just gonna use that all around. All right. I'm not worried about getting the air out at this time because I want to be able to easily mix these together. When you feel like you've got that nice and mixed up, mixed together, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to suggest you take your bag out of your bowl. And I lay it flat. I know you won't be able to see this on my table, but I lay it kind of flat to get my chicken breast all laid out. I open the bag up. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I open the bag up and get as much air out of my bag as possible. Because air, when you're freezing your meal prep foods, air is your enemy. So you want to get as much of that air out as possible. All right, and make sure your bag is sealed. You want to make sure you're using freezer bags. And then we're going to just set that aside for the time being and go on to our next step. So our next step And if I'm going too fast, let me know. Our next step is going to be you need a quart-sized bag. And this one, we're going to be using our smoky bacon barbecue sauce. So again, I'm going to open my bag. And we're measuring out 1/3 of a cup of the smoky bacon barbecue. Now for me, I wasn't thinking, I used I used the rest of my smoky bacon barbecue sauce earlier. So this one is brand new. All right. And this is where, like I said, the spatula can come in handy. I've got my bowl. Oh, it's like anticipation. It's not wanting to come out. Like the Heinz 57 commercial from a long time ago. And this one is a sauce that's a really rich, a thick, like smoky flavor. Not too bad on the smoke flavor, but just a really nice thick sauce. Some barbecue sauces are kind of, not so thick. They're just kind of runny, but this one's got a really nice thick texture. I love to do this on mets and brats. On my burgers tonight, we did it actually on burgers. Actually mixed it in with my burgers. And then this is gonna be separate for when we make these and we brush this on later on. So we're gonna, again, get as much air out as possible. So we've got our sauce. We've got our Nashville hot chicken seasoned. And then we're gonna put both of these in a gallon size bag. Now, what I like to do on my bags, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, I write the name of the dinner. I put in the corner AF, meaning that it's an air fryer meal. And I also like to put the date that I made the meals. The reason for this is that way, if it gets kind of shoved to the bottom of my freezer, if it's down there at the bottom and I'm like, oh no, how long has this been in there? I can at least see that I have the date on the bag. All right. Now this is one we're saving and we're going to do at a later time. So I'm going to be putting this one in my freezer tonight. That first meal is finished and we're going to go on to our second one. Pretty easy, right, ladies? I'm just going to set mine off to the side right now. Okay. How'd you do with that first one? Awesome.
I just used my last one from the
perfect.
last workshop, so I'm ready to load back up.
That is great. I'm glad to hear that. That is awesome. So did you have a favorite one from the last workshop?
We loved the beer brat one, both the root beer pulled pork. I mean, the pork loin with the apple pie filling was delicious.
Yep.
I mean, we really liked them all.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I had a really positive experience with all of them as well. So, Debbie, did you have a favorite one from the last meals that we did?
I think it might have been the root beer pulled pork.
Yeah, I heard
my favorite. Although I really liked the apple pie pork loin.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, they were all so good though.
Yep, yep.
The apple pie was our favorite.
Oh, good. That's good. And the good thing is you can always go back and remake these anytime.
Oh, we have.
So if you need more ingredients, you just get it for you and we're ready to go. All right, so ladies, we're going to move on into our next meal, which is going to be the Hasselback chicken cordon bleu. So say that fast 3 times, right? So I already cut mine because like Debbie and we were saying about how we're smaller families. I actually did a little less chicken and I cut them down into smaller chicken breasts. Now this one, we are going to be wrapping them individually. So like as Debbie mentioned, it's a really great way when you wrap them in your plastic wrap, that you could, be able to just pull out 1 or 2 at a time. And not have so many of them. So, or like not have them all out at one time is what I'm trying to say. All right, so I'm gonna get our chicken breasts out. I have mine. I just put them, I got them out of the bag and I just actually put them on my cutting mat. I've actually already cut my slices in the chicken, but that's what we're gonna be taking and doing. So if you want to put your chicken breast out, and then you want to cut 4 to 5 vertical slices in each chicken breast. And you're cutting not all the way through, you're going about 3/4 of the way down through the chicken breast. You also will want to take these chicken breasts, once you do that, and just sprinkle them with some salt. And when you've got that finished, let me know and we'll go to the next part. And they even said get down into the sprinkles, or into the slits. My husband's not a huge salt person, I am. So even though I'm putting some in, hopefully he won't think it's too much. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we are also going to be putting 1 tablespoon of our classic ranch, sprinkling that down into the slits as well, and over top the chicken breasts. So I hate to say it, but I didn't get a chance to watch the Bengals game today. How did we end up doing, Debbie Catherine?
Absolutely horrible.
Oh no, so I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
My husband loved it. He's a Browns fan.
Oh, so yeah, happy day then.
All right, Stacey. Yeah, no, it was 24-3.
Oh gosh.
And I blame the fact that they don't play together during preseason.
Yeah.
So they get out there and they're just like fumbling around. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, Stacy's got happy news. We have sad news here in Cincinnati.
Oh no, I have terrible news. My Steelers lost too.
Oh no, yeah, then you did have a bad day. Just only your husband had a happy day.
Only he had a happy day.
Yeah. All right. I can't believe it's already football season again. That's the thing that's so crazy. All right, so again, you can always use your lid. Remember it's 2 tablespoons, so just fill it up about halfway full. If you like a little more ranch, you can always add a little more. And this ranch is just, it was only really supposed to be in our lineup for just a little bit of time. But we ended up having such great response to having it that we ended up keeping it a whole lot longer. It's now a standard product, so you can get this anytime you want. It's not going anywhere. All right, how are we doing with getting our sprinkles on?
I'm just starting my sprinkles.
So I like a lot of seasonings. Like I said, my husband's not, he's very good about eating whatever we have. But I don't, he says not too much on the seasonings, don't go overboard. But you can see that some of them I made a little bit more seasoning on and other ones have not as much. Am I going too fast or too slow?
Maybe a hair too fast.
All right, I'll slow down just a
The
bit.
cutting took a little bit of time.
And I forgot, I already have I did mine already ahead of time, so I wouldn't be cutting and talking, so good point. Good.
Okay,
Just tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, Debbie, how about you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we're gonna need 6 slices of deli ham at this point. And we're gonna separate, or we're gonna cut those into 4 to 5 slices or like, strips. And then we're tucking that into each chicken breast in the slits. So you've got some salt in there. You've got the classic ranch in there. And now you're going to stuff it in with the ham as well. I think this one is going to be a fabulous meal. I actually have not had this one before. Even though I think this was a meal that we had in one of our workshops recently.
It was last year sometime because this is like my favorite.
Yeah, and you know what happened, Debbie? It was when remember when we did that one where the brainstorming babes were all together.
Yes.
And then we donated those meals to
yes, to the house, right?
Yes. So actually to Holly's aunt, who was so nice and generous to give us her car while we were in Tampa and everything. So we did not actually keep the meals, so I never got to have this one.
Oh, it is so good. You're gonna love it.
Yay, I can't wait. So Stacy, are you the main cook in your house, or does your husband?
Oh, yes. No, it's me,
All right.
but I'm just learning.
Well, that's good. You know what? It's good that you're here then.
Well, I always worked full time, and now that I'm not working, it's like, okay, now I need to learn how to cook.
Right. I do this, my Tastefully Simple full time. So now I do have more time to cook too. When I was a teacher, I never had it, I would cook. I mean, I would work all the time, grading papers and all that kind of stuff. So, it's nice.
It was whatever was quick and easy.
Exactly. We had a lot of the same stuff. So, and then Talia, are you a cook? Much?
My husband is definitely a better cook than I am,
Yeah.
but or I should say he enjoys it more. So,
Right.
but we love all of the stuff that we've been getting. So I just saw this like too late to get the meal kit. So I'm
Right.
just kind of following along with you guys, and then we'll order stuff after.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just making notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have this as a recording, so you can always have this for later. I know you really can't see what I'm doing because I'm stuffing the chicken breasts and you can't really see it, but I will show you here shortly.
Yeah.
And then
he heard in the background all of the barbecue and the root beer
Yeah.
ones, and he was like raising his eyebrows. So I'm like, yeah, we'll get them.
Yeah,
So,
right, what's
Oh,
that?
they're good.
That was
They
a-
are good.
yeah, that was a summary. We did that as a summer slow cooker meal. So
sounds delicious.
yeah, it really was. I like to have a towel over my shoulder just so that I can rinse or wipe my hands off as I'm working. Just so you're aware of why I am doing that. I'll be throwing that in the laundry as soon as we're finished, but I'll just show you. I don't know if you all can see, but I'm not the best cook in the whole wide world, so my stuff is never really that pretty. But you can see that I have my ham stuffed in and I got the seasoning on there. And Deborah and Debbie, how are we doing?
Doing
I've
great.
got just one more to stuff.
All right. And then after you do that stuffing, then we're gonna top it with some shredded. Okay, we've got 1 cup of shredded Swiss cheese that we're gonna be topping it, and then sprinkling a little bit of seasoned pepper on top. Now, what you might want to do is it might be easier to have your plastic wrap ready to go before you put your cheese on. Just a thought.
Oh,
So I'm just thinking of that every once in a while. I'm thinking through ahead of time. So, yeah, so let's go ahead and do our plastic wrap. And that way, each time we are laying one on there, then we can go ahead and put the cheese and then the pepper and then wrap it, and then it'll be ready for the bag. And then our seasoned pepper. Now, one thing I will mention is I do go and wipe everything back down after I'm finished, just because I'm not wearing gloves. And then we have our first chicken breast finished. I don't know if you can see it or not, but then it's all wrapped, and then it will be put in our Ziploc bag.
So we're just putting it on the plastic wrap and sprinkling some cheese on it and then okay.
Yep, sprinkle it with the cheese and then just a sprinkle of a seasoned pepper on top. And
Oh,
then we're
yeah.
gonna wrap it. And then we'll have the 6 separate chicken breasts. Oh no, I got fingers that are all full of gooey stuff and I just had somebody who's popping on. Hold on 1 second, ladies. Here we go. All right. I'm gonna put this down so hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. You won't be able to see me necessarily at this point, but are you able to see what I'm wrapping here or not so much?
Yes.
I can see
Yeah.
you wrapping.
Okay, perfect. Hello, whoever just joined us. I know it just says Samsung. Thanks for coming on. So we are working on our chicken cordon bleu, the Hasselback chicken cordon bleu. And what we're doing right now is we've sliced our chicken breast, we've stuffed it with classic ranch seasoning, some salt. We've stuffed ham pieces in there, and now what we're doing is sprinkling with some shredded Swiss, and then a little bit of our seasoned pepper. And I know that was a measure, you were supposed to measure that seasoned pepper, but I'm just doing it as a eyeballing it kind of thing. And you kind of know how your family is, whether you like a lot of seasoning or not so much. And then again, we're just doing separate, we're doing separate plastic wrap for each one of these, which is really nice because like I said, we were talking about if you're a small size family, this makes it that much easier. Are you able to see? I'm hoping you can still see. And like I said, I cut my chicken kind of funny. I did not do 2 pounds, like it called for, so. So has anybody decided what meal you're gonna have first? I always think that's kind of fun to think about which one you're gonna go with first.
I think I'm
I'm
going.
excited about the pork chops. Oh, sorry.
The pork chops? Yeah. Debbie, Kesson, how about you?
Shrimp.
The shrimp? Yeah. That one ought to be fun to watch me try to do. I think I'm gonna talk you all through it instead of trying to do it with you. And then do it after I'm off camera. Just because I know with the dredging it through and everything, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, that's
it
gonna
might be
take
a
some
little
time.
easier. Might be a little easier. And I was saying, you know, I could not find shredded Swiss anywhere, so I just got a block of Swiss cheese today and I just did my own shredding of that.
I was the same way. I went to like 2 different stores. Couldn't
I
find it.
can't find it anymore. It's and I know it's kind of silly to always be like, well, but since COVID, but it is since COVID, I have not been able to find that. I also can no longer find I used to love to get Greek like yogurt cream cheese. I had a dish that I like to make and it lightened it up a lot and it was healthier. Like a health, you know, if you're counting the carbs and everything like that and the fats. And I can't find that anywhere in the stores anymore.
Huh.
So that's also something I've been missing. But yeah, I went to 3 stores. I've done this before. I've gone to 3 different stores and not been able to find them. So I've just come to the realization I'm gonna have to shred now. So, but you can see each one of these is separated. Got the cheese, the pepper, and the chicken breasts. And then what I'm gonna do is I have a bag that's labeled. Like I said, I like to put the date on there. I have the AF here, so I remember that it's an air fry meal. And then the name of the meal. And I'm just gonna put each chicken breast down in there. I always like to have my bags double bag, like my meals double bagged. Because I don't like, after I put it in the fridge, if I have something that's like overnight in the fridge, as it starts to defrost, I don't like it getting gooey, you know, like the bag sometimes. So I actually will double bag this. Just so you know why I do that. And again, we're trying to get as much air out as possible. And this one is nice because you can kind of get every chicken breast in there and it kind of just automatically makes it that you have hardly any air in there. When you're finished with this meal, let's go ahead and take a minute to just kind of clean up our workspace and wash our hands off. Let's go touching all that chicken. If you're putting this meal in the freezer, you can go ahead and get it in the freezer a while or set it aside. Does anybody have any questions for me about the meal so far? No? All right. And I feel like I have a little extra air in that one, so I'm gonna, at the end, I'll get some more air out. I'm gonna go wash my hands and wash off my cutting mat. Be right back. So one of the things that I also like to do is I have my garbage can right next to me. So when I have any trash that I need to throw away, I do have it ready to go. It's easy to just throw everything in and kind of keep my workspace nice and clean. Or as clean as I do when it comes to me cooking anything. So, all right, so let me wipe this one. All righty. So Debbie and Deborah, how you doing with your meals? Are you ready to move on?
I'm ready.
Okay. Deborah, how about you?
Okay, I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, sounds great. So we're going to move on into the turkey burgers now. So these are our Nashville hot turkey burgers. So I actually have mine already, my turkey meat in a plastic bowl already. So I can mix everything in with it here. And yep, ready to roll. And so what we're going to do is we are going to need a tablespoon and a half of our classic ranch. And again, that's our classic ranch. It's now a standard product. And again, I'm not measuring. I'm just going to measure using my cup. We know that this is 2 tablespoons, so just shy of being full. And then we're going to stir that together, and then we're going to work on making those into patties. So I'm just simply mixing it together. If you have the Tastefully Simple, let me show you. If you have the burger press, you could always do your burgers in the burger press that we have. I'm just going to eyeball it and make my burgers that way. Now, these are also going to be individually wrapped. So I'm going to go ahead and get my plastic wrap out as I start to make the patties.
Sorry, got my water going.
What'd you say?
And fingers. I use my fingers to mix it up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, had the water
Well,
going.
normally I do that too. You know what, I didn't do it only because I was like, knew I was going to be ripping this off, and that's the only reason I didn't want to run back across the kitchen. So I love our kitchen, but I have to say that when we designed it, we ended up putting the sink over across the room. And then when I'm prepping here for a workshop, I mean, when I'm making meals myself, I'm making them over there, so it's not a big deal. But when I'm on a workshop doing this, I am running back and forth. So I do apologize that you see me running across my kitchen back and forth, back and forth.
Kelly,
Now,
about how big is your patty?
Say again.
How big is your patty?
So let me show you. I mean, I'm just gonna do, because I mean, the idea would be to get 6 patties out of it. So take your meat and try to, what I do is before I actually make the patties, I kind of roll it into balls.
Okay,
And then I make sure that they all look around the same. And then I separate them out. Because I have a tendency to have like one patty that's like gigantic and then the rest of them are kind of small. So I've learned that with myself that if I just kind of make them all up and then I look and go, okay, that one's kind of small, that one's kind of, that one looks dainty. So that one looks more like a slider than an actual burger. So that's kind of how I do it.
okay. Thank you.
Sure. And you know, this one calls for 85% lean ground turkey. I actually bought the stuff that was even higher than that, or like the leaner cut, just because that's kind of what I like.
It was
But I
also
know-
on sale at Kroger this week.
which
The
was
93.
yeah. So I mean, like
It was on sale.
Yeah,
I was like,
exactly.
bonus.
yeah, and that's always nice. So yeah, Debbie, I have one that's like I'm looking at this right now, and I have one that's like a tiny one, and I have a gigantic one. So I'm just gonna kind of. So my patties are probably about that size.
Okay,
And I will tell you that, like for me, I think I got a little bit less. I didn't have a full pound and a half. I was a little low on mine. So. But yeah, so then you're just gonna make your patties. If you didn't want to do patties and you just wanted to have them as like, you could do meatballs if you wanted, I guess. Something different. You can always do that. Although I think a good burger of any kind, turkey burger, ground beef, I think those are always delicious. So. And again, like I said, Deborah, they're not all gonna be the same size on mine. That is where the burger press does come in handy. Because then you've got this, you're putting the same amount in each time, so.
agreed.
And I just like that, like prepping these meals all together, just is so nice because then you know it's finished, makes it so much easier.
And it's so nice to go to the freezer and be like, I don't know what to have for dinner. And it's like, oh, I'll pull this out and thaw it out, and then tomorrow's will be ready to go when I get home.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's a beautiful thing. And again, once you have your, I thought I had enough plastic wrap, I did not. Once you have your, burgers or your patties made, then we're gonna go ahead and put those in off to the side, because we're gonna do our quart size bag. I don't know if you're watching this later, I apologize that you kind of have me just looking around, but I'm busy working, making the meals as well, so. Hopefully that's okay. Now that it's fall, it seems like everybody will be more, in the summer, there's always that funny schedule of what, are you home or not home to make meals? So now I think people are probably home a little bit more making their meals. And like Debbie Kesson said, it's nice when you can find the meat on sale. So you can always be on the lookout. If you don't make the meals necessarily with us, you can see I have my patties all made and they're all individually wrapped. Even if you're doing this on your own time, just do it when there's something that's on sale. All right. So Debbie and Deborah, how you doing on yours?
Doing
I've
great.
got
All
3
right.
more to wrap. I mean,
All
they're
right.
made. I just got to wrap.
And I am going to just put mine in the large bag a while. And then I'm going to rinse my hands off before we go to the next step. So. Funny, I don't ever remember as a kid us ever having turkey burgers ever. I don't think that came until later on. Maybe it was just my mom didn't like that.
We never had it.
We never did either.
So here I've got my 6 in the bag. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they're ready to roll. And then I'm gonna go wash my hands off and then I'll be ready to start with the next thing.
Okay.
Guess I could be going off camera each time I walk across my kitchen. I guess I never gave that a thought. When you're ready, we are gonna need a quart-sized bag. And again, folding over the top of it is a great way to have it get a nice opening, so that you're not spilling the olive oil all over the place. This time we're gonna need 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the bag, and then we're also going to be using the Nashville hot. So this is a mix of, just so you can see, got my bowl, got the plastic bag inside the bowl, so that way if it tips over, it's not going to spill out all over my kitchen. We're doing 2 tablespoons.
And how much Nashville hot? I'm sorry.
We're going to do 1 tablespoon of Nashville hot.
Okay. So 2.
Just half the cap. Or if you're using a measuring spoon, obviously 1 tablespoon. You can kind of see that there's lines in there in the lid. I kind of think, I'm sure that's just to close it, but I kind of think that's a good measuring point when you're looking. And then I'm just simply putting it in my bag. Yeah, I'm putting my lid back on so I don't end up with it all over the place. Then I'm just gonna put my lip of the bag back up. I'm gonna mix that around a little bit. If you can see. And then I'm just gonna get all that air out. And then I'm going to be setting that inside with my patties. And as I said before, I do like to use an extra bag. And it's probably not really necessary, but for me, it's something that I prefer. So I'm gonna, again, put my second bag on the outside. Are you able to see these, or am I? It's hard to make sure that I'm like, I hope that they can actually see what I'm doing.
I bought the silicone freezer bags to use,
Oh,
but
wow.
I didn't so that I could reuse them.
Yeah, where did you get those?
Amazon, of course. Everything comes from
Oh,
Amazon.
yeah, that's true. Why did I even ask, right? Why did I even ask? Well, I'm gonna have to check those out. That's cool.
Well, they're nice, and you can write on them with a dry erase marker, and then when you wash them, you just wash this right off.
Oh, that's great. All right, so that's our 3rd meal all made up.
I've got to replace all my meals because our freezer died.
Oh,
So we
no.
lost all the food in the freezer when we
Oh,
came home Saturday night.
oh, that makes me want to cry.
There was
for you.
water all over the floor and everything was thawed.
Oh, goodness, that's terrible. I'm
Yep.
so sorry.
That's
Ugh.
okay. So I get to start all over again. So we had orange chicken today because it was thawed anyway.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. So, all right. So Deborah and Debbie, how are we doing on your meals? Are you ready to go to the next? Okay, great. So we are going to go on to the pork chops. I heard somebody say they were excited about these.
Oh, me.
Yeah. So I went ahead and put my pork chops in the bag a while. Now I'm going to put it in my bowl. And again, I like to open that up. And this time we're going to be doing 2 teaspoons of seasoned pepper. And that's that little baby jar, wherever I put that. There we go. So we're going to be using 2 teaspoons of this. And then just salt as desired. So, like I said, I always have to keep in mind that my husband's not the biggest salt fan. But I am. And I don't know if you realize, but this little cap part of your seasoned pepper, you can just pop that off. And that way it makes it a lot easier for measuring. And I actually am going to go get a teaspoon, a measuring spoon, because I got olive oil all over mine. So I will be right back.
Kelly, sorry to interrupt. I gotta run, but I just wanted to thank you for all of this, and I'm definitely gonna rewatch it so we can get the stuff we want and make it all.
That sounds great. Yes. And thank you so much for taking some time with us tonight.
Absolutely. Enjoy all of it, ladies. It looks
We
good.
will. We can't wait to hear what you think of it too.
We will. We'll let you know.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for coming on. All right. So we're doing 2 teaspoons of the seasoned pepper. Now, I would tell you, I think that's a lot in my mind, just because I know that this has a really great pop of flavor. And especially since I know that Rick doesn't love, and I have a 1/4 teaspoon. That's the first one I grabbed. So I'm gonna cut mine back a little bit. I'm gonna do just a teaspoon and a 1/4. So I'm gonna do 1 1/4 teaspoons. So. But again, you do what you feel comfortable doing. So. And then seal your bag. I let some air still in the bag when I'm doing this, because I'm just gonna kind of make it all around. And zhuzh it up. I hear we talked to Angie Zalkowski, that's what she said, zhuzh it. So kind of get all that mixed together. Then open your bag back up and get as much air out as possible. And I like to kind of make sure that the meat is laying flat and not all, like not all bunched up in one corner of the bag. And that way you can get even more air out. So. Now I will tell you this one, if you did bone in pork chops, be really careful with your bag so that you don't puncture, because you've got the bone in. So I did thick chops, but got rid of the bone for myself, just because that's the way I didn't want the bag to get hot. Okay. And then ladies, let me know when you're ready to go to the next step. Good. All right. So we're going to need now a quart-size bag. And so this is going to be our step 3. And on this one, we're going to be putting a 1/2 cup of the smoky bacon barbecue into our bag. So again, folding over, we get a nice open space. Make sure you put it in your bowl. And you're going to be doing. And again, like I said earlier, this was a sauce actually that I never ever used to use, because I was such a fan of the honey teriyaki and the Bayou bourbon that I was like, I don't want to use that barbecue sauce. I'll use these other things. And then when I finally started using this, I thought, why in the world did I waste so much time, so many years not using this sauce? So, but it's definitely one that I love. When I go to vendor events, if I can set up with some of the places that I go, I'll set up with like a crock pot, and then I can make these up and I'll let people try them, and it's always such a huge hit. These are the Bayou bourbon meatballs as well. So again, got the barbecue sauce in the bag. Gonna Squeeze as much air out as possible, get that flattened. Make sure you get a really good seal on your bag. Right, again, so you can see how I just kind of laying it flat. We're gonna be putting our meat and this bag. And we're gonna be putting that in another gallon-sized bag when you're ready. Again, I have mine labeled, of the date, and that it's an air fry meal.
Are you using a bigger than gallon size bag, or did it
Yeah.
just look that way?
It just looks that way. They're a gallon. Yeah.
Okay, I was just checking if you had some secret.
Well, there are some out there because there have been meals in the past that like call for like 4 or 5 individual bags. A long time ago, there were some meals like that. And sometimes it would call for a 2-gallon freezer bag so that you could fit everything in it. But we haven't had any of those meals lately. And I've
Okay.
never really found those bags. I'm sure they're around. I just
The only place I've found 2-gallon is at GFS.
oh, that makes sense. Like yeah.
Yeah, because when I bake bread
Oh.
only fits in the 2-gallon.
Okay.
And I tend to give that out for Christmas gifts. So
Oh.
I have to have 2-gallon bags.
Well, don't ever forget that you know where I live, Debbie, right?
Ah, I got you, girl.
I always love good food. Yeah, I think this pork chop's gonna be really good. We actually have with our new catalog out. We have those 1-pan meals. These new 1-pan. And the idea is that everything is done on a sheet pan. And so I made this one tonight. I made the fajitas tonight. Phenomenal. So there's one that's a Kansas City barbecue one. And I made it with the team when we did the Taste and Trends. And they were like, this is such a juicy pork chop. Like they were shocked. And because I make pork chops and make them like shoe leather. So I was so excited that, you know, in less than 30 minutes, I had pork chops. And you do it with apples and sweet potatoes and then ketchup. And these are just wonderful. But I don't think they're really going to ever be good for a freezer meal workshop because they hardly take any time to prepare. So yeah, but just so you know that these are out there too. So they're really good.
While everybody's getting ready, since I didn't sign up early enough to get the whole sheet, how do you cook those pork chops?
So the pork chops that are in the ones that we just
The ones
made,
you're doing right now, yeah.
cookie bacon ones. So everything's going to be in your air fryer. So, but you could do it in your oven too. So when you go to put them in the air fryer, I'm just going to read this to you so you see. So the air fryer, and so it says, set the air fryer to 375 and do not preheat it.
Okay.
Air fry until internal temperature reaches 155 degrees Fahrenheit on the instant read food thermometer.
Mhm.
And it suggests about 17 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
It does say halfway, turn over halfway and brush 1/4 of a cup of the barbecue sauce on the smoky bake or on the pork chop. And then when you remove it, you'll brush the rest of it on. So you have half a cup in there. So you'll only use about half of it to brush on when you flip them. And then when you bring it out, then you'll brush the rest on if you flip it back over.
Because my pork chops I'm like you, shoe leather.
I know.
So I was so excited when I saw this. I'm like, oh, then maybe she has a better way.
Yeah. But you know what? I think that I am always so worried about the temperature of the meat. I always think that I'm supposed to cook it for so long. And as long as it reaches that 155 internal temperature, if you have one of those, do you have a
Yes.
thermometer? Yeah, as long as you get to 155, it's cooked all the way through.
Okay.
So I would start at the 17-minute mark, and you're flipping it halfway through. But at, halfway through, when it gets to 17 minutes, pull it out, make sure, check your temperature. And if not, if you need more time, then put it back in.
Okay.
So that's how I would do it. So Debbie or Deborah, do either of you have a tip on that?
The thermometer makes all the difference.
Yeah.
So make sure you're checking that. And 155 is not 165, it's 155.
Exactly. Don't think, oh, well, maybe I should.
I can't count.
Well, and actually, if you're gonna cook it and then reheat some later, pull some of them out at like 150.
Ooh, good idea.
Otherwise, when you reheat, you're gonna go way over and
Yeah.
you've got shoe leather.
That's a great tip, Debbie. I love it.
I was thinking, usually when I do my pork chops, I make just enough for us to have that night and no leftovers because it's just going to get worse the next time.
Right,
Yep,
right.
yep.
Absolutely.
I get it. I get that. So, well, now we're all gonna have delicious pork chops and
That's right.
see how this works out. So, all right. So we're gonna, if you're ready, ladies, we're gonna move on to the last meal, and this one is the everything bagel shrimp. And again, for this one, I do think I'm gonna talk you through it as opposed to talking and trying to dredge shrimp through flour and everything like that. If that's
I'm
okay.
gonna sign off because I couldn't get shrimp at the store.
Okay.
And so if my husband just got home from work.
All right. Sounds good.
All right,
Well,
thanks,
for
guys.
coming, and this will be available
Deb.
for you to rewatch. So,
Bye, Stacy. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
but yeah, so Debbie, then do you mind if I just talk you through it? Okay, you good to go? All right, sounds great. Okay, so what we're gonna do is in a shallow bowl, we're gonna combine 1/3 of a cup of flour and then a teaspoon of salt and pepper as desired. So salt as desired, but a teaspoon of the seasoned pepper. All right.
What all's in the seasoned pepper?
So it is, I should know this better.
I haven't
Black
tried that.
pep- Yeah, it's black pepper and a red bell pepper, sugar, oregano, and the extract of paprika for the color.
Oh,
You
okay.
sometimes will see, and so paprika, it gives it things like a red color.
Mhm.
And sometimes paprika is different depending on like the batch of paprika. So sometimes you might notice one of our seasonings being a little bit more red, and other times it might not be quite as red. They didn't reformulate it or anything. It's the batch of paprika.
Oh,
And
okay.
very color. And I
Interesting.
think that I had also heard that I think paprika can also, I don't know why, yeah, I think it's just if it's like different batches of it. But also if you shake it back up, you'll notice that it's kind of like recolors. I don't know why that is, but
Huh, okay.
strange, but yeah. So I'll shake my seasonings, like my seasoned salt sometimes will get kind of like not as bright of a red. So I'll reshake it and then it's like, oh, there it is. It's all
There
right.
it is.
So yeah. So. All right. So Debbie, let me know when you're ready.
I am ready. I pre-measured some of this stuff because
Oh, look at you go.
I know from
That is
previous
awesome.
ones
Yeah, that's
what I
awesome.
needed to do. So I
Yeah.
have my panko breadcrumbs.
Yes. Oh, yay. Very good. All right.
I
So
have that already mixed.
So this is what she's doing. Let me talk it through for those of you that are going to be tuning in later.
Correct.
So Debbie has put in a shallow bowl, 1/3 of a cup of flour, a teaspoon of seasoned pepper, and then salt as desired. She's got a second bowl that is going to have 2 eggs that she beats, and then a 1/2 teaspoon. There she goes.
I did that while
Yep.
we were talking.
Yes, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of seasoned pepper in there as well.
My eggs? Am I
Yes,
forgotten that?
yes, and the eggs.
All right, 1/2 teaspoon. Gotcha.
Yep.
Got it.
Be careful, teaspoon, not tablespoon.
Correct.
That's a lot. That
Would have been bad.
bad. So, and then our next one, the third bowl that she has is going to be, and I don't know if Debbie can show us that bowl.
It's got, I don't know if you can see it.
Lift it up just a little bit. There we go. Yep, so she's got the panko breadcrumbs, and that's 1 cup of the plain panko breadcrumbs. She's got 1/3 of a cup of the Parmesan cheese, grated Parmesan cheese, and then 3 tablespoons of her everything bagel seasoning.
Seasoned bagel.
Yes.
All
All
right.
right, very good. So it's pretty simple. You know, with shrimp, it's kind of always wet. So you're just going to dredge that through your flour, in the flour and egg to coat. And then you're going to coat it in the bread mixture and then press firmly on the shrimp. I know. This is
It's like gross to touch,
Yes.
but I know it's gonna turn out so good.
The other thing is you can always use a fork and try to dredge a little bit that way. That way
Yeah.
you're not touching so many of them.
I actually got the shrimp from Aldi yesterday,
Did you?
and amazing prices for this, by the
That's
way.
awesome. So I bought shrimp. So what did you get it for? Because I bought what is it?
Deveined, de-shelled, whatever you
Deshelled, yeah,
want.
deveined, deshelled.
Yeah.
I got mine today at Kroger's for $6.99 a pound.
Mine was less.
Really? And that was on sale
Yeah.
at Kroger.
Yeah. So I decided that I'm not a big Aldi fan.
I still shopping there though.
But I would totally go get all my meat from there. Like the chicken breasts that I got were so cheap.
Mhm.
Well, I should say inexpensive, not cheap.
Yeah.
But
I will
I-
share a picture that I did today. I went to both stores. I went to Aldi and I've just started getting into Aldi. And I went to Kroger. At Kroger, I was only going to get one or two things, but I ended up found some chicken, like so that I could do my make a magic. I like to do 4 pounds of batch cook.
yeah,
And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get it there. And so both of them were within $10 of each other, how much I
Nice.
spent. But I want you to see how much more I got at Aldi's than I did at Kroger's. So I took a
Right.
picture of it. I'm gonna put it out there on my Facebook, my VIP page and share it. But
I actually
Crazy.
got way more shrimp than I needed. So I kind of adjusted my levels of the recipe.
yeah,
But knowing that I know I had way more shrimp, I had almost 2 pounds of shrimp for under $12.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
So
Debbie, could you do me a favor? Can you
Yeah.
show us what you're doing? Because you're putting those, I think, on a tray, right?
yes, I am.
Plate.
So here's what I am doing. So I took them through the flour, then the egg. I know I need to hold this up. I don't know if you can see
You can
it.
see it. We can see it. Looks great.
Okay. And now I'm supposed to spray them, right?
Yes, so they do suggest that you spray them with a little light cooking spray.
Yes.
And then you're gonna seal well, and then freeze. So, and if you have like a little tray that you want to put in the freezer, you can do that. Or you can flip those over, but yeah, so.
Yeah.
So thanks, Debbie, for showcasing those.
You're welcome.
I thought it was gonna be easier if you showcased it as opposed to me trying to do and show, so.
Correct. Because it's a process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I have a lot of shrimp.
You do have a lot of shrimp
To
there.
go through.
Yes, yes. I
So,
love that.
Yeah, and that was under $12. So
amazing.
all peeled deveined.
That's
I'm
wonderful.
like, I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
I'm
And
glad
you know
it
what?
doesn't last because oh my god, it would have taken me forever.
Yes, exactly. Well, hey, I want to tell you that we now have a bang bang shrimp, or we now have a bang bang sauce that would be great for your shrimp.
Oh my lord.
So yes, that's a new product we have out this fall. So
Just like steal all my money.
I
okay?
know.
I
Sorry.
know, isn't
Take
it
it all.
terrible?
Just take it all.
Take it all. Take it all. So
But I love food, so
yes, yes. So, and also I want to mention to both of you that on Tuesday evening and Wednesday evening, we have 2 information calls about the business opportunity. And the reason I mention it to you is it's $19.99 to join this month. And your business blast off kit is a value of $100. So if you had any interest, just reach out to the person that invited you. I think I know Deborah invited you, Stacey, and I
Yes.
invited you, Debbie.
yes,
So,
we did.
no pressure, but if it is something that you're interested in, just to hear even more information about it. The one on Tuesday night is our Tastefully Simple team, our headquarters team is going to be doing like a 15 to 20 minute call. And then on Wednesday night, I'm leading a call for like just our team and any of our guests that want to come. And that'll be about 20 minutes, and there's time for Q&A. So just wanted to mention it. You know, if you love the products and love to share it with anybody else, it's just always kind of a fun thing. Food is always fun. So
Food is
Oh, yeah.
Food is life.
yes, it is life. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn the recording off now
Okay.
as we watch Debbie make